Greetings, dear magnificent, beautiful spirit soul that you are. Pure, clean, without blemish, and always have been, always will be. We need to get that and know that it's not you that's ever done anything. It's the false self, the facade that we have made, the costume, the overlay, you see, in order to fit into and be part of this dimensional reality. Okay, now, take a nice deep breath. Breathe into your heart. I acknowledge who you are. I love the comments you make. I'm not always real crisp on writing back on the comments under YouTube, but I do. I go back after a while because I appreciate everybody and everything. But you can email me if you want a more personal contact and that sort of thing. That's why I'm there. I'm there. Okay. My topic: why loss and gain are the same. And what happens is when I knew there's a man, Harold Bloomfield, who's a nice man, who's a psychiatrist. He's one of my friends in San Diego. He wrote How to Survive the Loss of a Loved One. And it actually brought his work out, to a lot of people, because a lot of people go through losses of loved ones. I think we all have in some way, whether, it's a pet or it's a plant or, whoever you love, it's a person, whoever. But it's a feeling of a loss. And what is that feeling of a loss? Is if you see, a lot of people don't examine these because they don't want to notice what they're feeling or what's happening. But loss and gain, okay, they're duality. And this world is based on opposites. And so when you take any one side, like if you're hung up on loss, all right, then what you're doing is you're one part of this. So you don't get the wholeness of what it would be if you not went to, because if gain, you're only on the gain, you're never in the loss. Somebody and something is going to have the opposite, because this world works on opposites. And how you transcend this world is you transcend it, you go above, in the sense that you're not even really above. You are the witness. And you observe how everything does operate with opposites and losing it. Heat and cold, up and down, plus and minus, positive, negative. So when people, positive and negative are the same. I could say that for the same thing. Heat and cold are the same. They're just different by degrees in some sense. And then we have meanings that are put on these, that loss means this, 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 and this. Gain means this, this, and this. And I used to wonder, when I would be, first in my practicing of metaphysics, which was my understanding of what the spiritual teaching was about. And I always thought that whatever, Jesus was teaching, or they said he was teaching, or other great teachers were teaching in some level, that they made this up. But they really didn't. They don't make it up, because anything about this world always is not. It's not made up. It's a copy, in you might say, or some might call it a virtual reality, or however they want to say it is, and we experience it as real because of our who we are and our capabilities and our nature, and yet we are then perceiving and expressing our nature through this a limited construct system that then takes those constructs and then puts them through this, in a sense, artificial reptilian, you might say, brain. But it's more than that. It's not actually reptilian. It's insect. And I know you think I'm crazy, but yeah, I am. But there's insect mentality. It's a hive mentality. Always has a queen bee. She kills the male when she gets impregnated because everybody else is female. And that's very, very interesting. And they are really savage. You study about even on ants and different things that they do, and the war and the this, and the abilities. They could change from this to this to this. They change all these bodies with the same consciousness of the larva, and then the cocoon, and then the butterfly, and then the badia, and they go, and then these little bodies, and you don't even know. And the insects have their own form of communication and all this. But anyway, it's always based on survival. The mind is based on survival. That's not you. You're not based on survival because you are eternity. So what's the problem? but there's a survival of a physicalness. Yes, maintain the body and live in the space that is conducive to your spiritual life, your spiritual work, number one, always. And gaining for yourself, and then of the offering of that to others, that they may learn also and have that, and at least whether they want it or not. I'm offering my experience from what I study and what I do and all of that. So anyway, so loss then means a certain thing. But I used to notice when I would have a big win, and it usually was like with relationships. Like I would get this really great job, or I, attain something, or television program, something. Then I'd always have trouble in the relationship with the man I was with, trying to tell me what to do, direct this. But see, I had no idea really what marriage was about, what it was for, or what to do. And I'm trying to live that world thing. And what happens is, we've been all taught to fit whatever it is that is his, what would you say, authorizing what it is that we have been, what would you say, surrounded with in the realm of emotions and words and meanings and knowledge and things and people and activities and all of this stuff. And then with all of the media stuff, and people are getting where they're addicted to the mind thing, and that addiction of animation and that sort of thing, where they're putting their consciousness into and fueling these kind of things, making it huge businesses. But where do they get it? They get it from the people. And when you take your power back, that's why anyone who wants to get something from you does not want you to know and be who you are. That's just the way it is. And what the key is, when we have this, how do you survive the loss of a loved one, or how do you survive the gain of a loved one? Every loss is going to have a gain, and of some kind or another, and every gain is going to have a loss, because that's how they operate. Go above loss and gain. First of all, I don't own anyone, so how can I lose someone I don't own? Stuff is not mine, really. It all belongs to the earth. Even this body belongs to the elements in the earth, because that's how the mind has created it through me, through my giving all of those qualities into these concepts, you see, to make that this reality. And when I take myself back, I don't have loss or gain, because I'm not thinking that way, because loss feel bad, gain feel good. You get excited, you're going to be depressed, because these are opposites of it. Just like fear is not the opposite of love. Don't buy that lie, because fear has no opposite. It is an implant. It has nothing to do with the duality, other than to generate and create the duality through conflict of the fearing of others. Because you're in fear, you're going to fear everybody and everything, because the fear is death, it is pain, it is suffering, it is rejection, it is all of that kind of stuff that we then interpret as. And then gain means you got the degree, you won the race, you are the most beautiful, you had the most money, you got the most cars, you had the most business. It goes on and on and on and on. Okay, so I have a gain, and then the loss over here. And so when people are playing these duality games, they try and avoid loss by a whole bunch of gain. And yet as they do that, they're the biggest losers, because they don't have and be who they are. And when you take all these opposites and you bring them together, just take a 0 and a 1. They are meant that the Western way of numbering is 1 is the beginning, and in some of the Eastern, in the Hebrew and Muslim world, it would be more 0 is the beginning. So you already have them in conflict with each other, but it's the conflict that generates then this reflective, fractured movie, duality, theater, experience. that is according to the Vedas, and I like this, and Bhagavad Gita, this is a perverted shadow reflection of the spiritual. So because the mind is not an originator, and it's a virus, I call it a mind virus, it is, you have divine consciousness. You might call it divine mind already, because you're not a mind, you are conscious being, all-knowing, all-wise, right where you are. That's who you are. It's not about how much knowledge you have in the head of information coming in letters and numbers and that sort of thing. No, it's by your own knowing and direct experience of who you are and being who you are. And that's my work, for you to be that and to do that and to have that. And so anyway, so we have sorrow when we lose someone that we love in this sense, but it's actually really, you're experiencing love and separation. And when we get who we are, we never lose anybody and we never gain anyone, because we're not in a race. We've already arrived. You're already there. You have nothing to gain and nothing to lose, because you are no thing. You're a someone, but you're not even just a one, a zero. You're beyond numbers. You're beyond words. It's just like you're the artist, and your tools are nature. And then when we acknowledge that, let us acknowledge and get to the source of all of it. If this is a perverted shadow reflection of the divine, wowee, our true divine nature. But how we get there is we have to be here first. That means you have to be there now. Okay? And that means being the way now you are going to be then. When? Someday. They don't exist. It's right now. So, loss and gain are the same. Heat and cold are the same. Like and dislike are the same. Love, absolute love, has no opposite. In this world, it's like and dislike, because love has no opposite. Love does not exist in this realm. Love exists in us, because we are absolute love. Absolute love also is absolute wisdom, absolute discernment, knowing what's good for me and what isn't, because I know it and sense it and feel it, and that's what I go by. And when we do that, we're in harmony. People say, oh, no challenges. We don't need challenges. What's the contest? We already won. There's so much more. And how you get there, you got to be there now. And that's my work, for you to be there now. And then when you are, I am, we all are, you spread that out. That's how the real world, the true world, comes forth through us and naturally manifests in your world, regardless of whether anybody else goes there or not. You will be there, and your wish is for all to be where they are in their purest, most divine, eternal form, sense, self that we are. Hugs.